Hi, this is Kathy Vick, Deeply Awake. It's been decided that we're going to just let this tape go. I'd like to keep it under a half an hour. I have things that I'd like to do. The understanding is to get out of here by 1, and it's around noon. It takes some time to load. But as has been brought to my attention, just kind of sort of like as, well, you can have peanut butter, or you can have hot fudge, you can have sprinkles on your ice cream. So that's all well and good. The structure is such that it can contain a lot of goodies. So it's good to have the car on the road by 1. What happens between those 2 times can be bent a little bit. And there have been at least 2 other times when it's just been like, you want hot fudge or sprinkles. You want to go long, you want to go short. It may not be the best way of explaining it, but I'm sure they're going to explain it. I'm already twirling my thumbs. I find that moving my body rhythmically helps a little bit, and I've noticed the rocking. They've already given me little pieces. They've given me tons and tons of information about me, and that's appropriate that it's not published, but there's some stuff that it did involve you on the video, and questions that remain, and they remain with me. So I'm just setting the intention that this be the 3rd of the 4, but that it be appropriate to my knowledge base and what I feel I've accomplished, and I'd like some information about what has been accomplished. I understand that my understanding is rudimentary, and I'd like to know about capabilities and possibilities. I'd like to know what happened on that recliner last night, and the thoughts I was having, and how the orientation has changed. I'm very curious about that. And I see changes. I see that there's a natural desire to do things just a little bit different. So I'm curious. Curious. We're currently running a little circuit, and she sees the points. She does not see the one in the north, which is fine. Doesn't need to know everything. And so, okay, interesting. It's fine. This is a very nice thing for her to be able to do, and so it's a geometric, is it not? She wanted to be in Lookout, and then suddenly she wanted to be in Leadville, and then she started to see the lines, and then she thought, okay, what can I anchor this with? And then she saw the yellow house, and then, but that's not far enough north, but then it's not really 3D, and so it's okay to look a little bit skewed. Yes, that is how her thinking is going right now. Isn't that cute? And so we have done a number of things, and this means that she has done a number of things. It must be made very clear. This split is something that will certainly begin to dissolve. As the Master Kryan has talked about, there will come a day on this planet where channeling is just not necessary. She has questioned many times, why do I have to sit down and channel? This is very, it is repugnant to me. Why can't I just own this information? Well, currently, the split of dimensions is such that it's important to be able to access higher, and it isn't at a certain point you are not able to access higher without a mechanism of sorts, which at now is simply a breath and a quieting, and then a blending of sorts. Although she understands completely that what comes here is far more coded, has far more a greater perspective and power than she does. She understands that she has been moved, and this was a central cry. Hey, take away this amnesia. I don't like not knowing. I think that it is an insult to my sense of self. I don't like it. It makes me feel like you're making fun of me. She feels made fun of by not knowing this is her orientation. She doesn't like it. She's competitive with herself to understand more and more and more. Is this a bad thing? No. The results are very nice. Does it make for a really stable and normal life? Well, take a look around you. We would say it's a very happy life, and it is quite stable. quite stable. And one which glitters with its beauty and its sense of service and its obvious love for humanity, even though there are these questions. What is the other, and what did they do, and why did they hurt me so? Well, dear one, it will become more and more obvious why it hurt. Great soul, with just tissue paper skin. But that part's over, because last night we were able to switch the circuits, or what we would call just complete circuits. We said, did we not, that the Melissa and the Kathy had an open circuit, we said, and they were each holding palm fronds, and the Kathy understood that indeed it was a closed circuit, because she was the one closest to the central sun. Melissa was the one next, and then around and around, and then of course going back, what it looks like, and boom. So yes, it's a closed circuit, and yet she felt very open. And so the reason for this deep, dark, even song of internment, she was able to review biologically and magnetically, and in many ways that were quite beautiful, but which led her to lay down and remain quite inert in a recliner for a couple hours, was the weight of the petitioner's cry, keening, wailing, deliver me, deliver me. We think the song Leonard Cohen of The Hill is fit and pure, of little angels dressed in rags saying, we will sing even though it's dark. This is a theme that ran through. Think of Noah. Think of this God who got angry and annoyed at these things that were doing things that he didn't agree with, right? Who does it sound like? The God of the first 10 chapters of the Bible. Does that sound a lot like you guys? I would think so. Read it. And then the funny thing is, the earth is covered in water. We would say the timing is quite coded. And then slowly, the ground begins to show, and the little dove comes back and goes out and comes back, and then the dove finds land. And what do the survivors, the overcomers, the ones who acted weird and did what everyone else was telling them was probably kind of weird and stupid and bizarre and out of proportion with reality, we might add, underline, and put a couple capitals in there. Well, they hobbled out of their little ark, which we would say is quite symbolic, and they go onto the land, and they find a creature, and as fitting with the times, no more symbology there than that, we would suggest, what do they do? What do they do? Do they go, hey, you understand how immature you are? Let me tell you a thing or two, and dismiss it? Poof, there goes God. I'm smarter than God. Look at I survived his awful temper tantrum. So from now on, what God? Come on, let's go. Be fruitful and multiply. and perhaps God's words babble out of him. But the twist, we would say, the twist. Not from solar plexus to heart, not from emotion into understanding, but from heart connected to sight, consideration, and the golden ray, connected and acted out as compassion. They hobbled out of their little boat and, fitting to the times, did a ritual that they knew used to please that guy. Something that the guy who did all this to them and really just messed up their reality and put them in free fall and had to start completely over. Well, we love him. We love him. No words were said in that book, you know. I don't believe there's anything that, any certain thing that said. Just that they started cooking a dove or something, and then, that aroma is sweet. That aroma is so sweet. That kind of love for someone who has been cruel, from someone who has suffered from the cruelty, no longer seen as that, but as opportunity, as shift, as change, as somehow serving a larger purpose, which makes crazy sense somehow. Look it up. This one would go to the verse below. Shall not cease. Shall not cease. And we would hold her head, and we would hold her belly, and we would tell her, hang in there, just keep putting one foot in front of the other in benevolence. Just keep putting one foot in front of each other. It's all you have to do. So, how much like she is you and you like her, well, that's up to you, isn't it? But we can assure you that this one has had her share of heartache and trouble and financial difficulty and career upsets and relocations and sexual identity issues and addictions and love of the whiskey, as we have said, and many, many, many things. And she weighed 300 pounds, and she had to have the CPAP, and she liked pills, and on it goes. Many, many little marbles she put in her chalice on the way here, saying, well, I think I can handle it, guys. Looks pretty good, but you better show up, like in full force. And did we not? Has not your help arrived? We would suggest that you've been helped all along the way. All along the way. All along the way. All along the way. Hands up and soothing thoughts and benevolent outcomes and quiet days in amongst the pain. The pain. So, we have explained much about much, and we let the work stand as our master work as far as we're concerned. We are assured that once the information is laid out in written form, it will be of more, it will make this one feel more trusting. There's a lack of trust that this is cohesive until she sees it. There's something about having the paper in her hand. It would be very, the throat goes crazy. Very good for her, very good for her. So this is the work at hand, and so we were going to tell her what was going to happen. And so we want to say this out loud because it's very risky to be so bold in our prophecies. So we'd like to suggest that the following things might be possibilities. That would be leaving here and going to the Far West bookstore and saying, "Hiya, got this family friend who talked to me about you. You want some help?" And then we go north and we say hello, and then we go east and drop off a card. That is all that will happen there. And then we go south at a place called Cornerstone, and then the circuit is complete. We want you to see that, and it is it's deliberate, baby. We told her she would have a certain sum in her pocket by the end of the night, and she is in disbelief. That is fine, blah blah blah. We will not divulge that to you because this is the skill part and the fun part and the blah blah part. And then there is a thank you to the Tim, and then we pick up the Dave, and then Sam and Dave will soothe the catty with their happinesses and the video games and the requests for food and shelter and sweetness. And so she will celebrate this day as a grandmama, giving love to her babies who have twin sons. We are so proud of them and we love them so much. We bring up we need not. So much of this is learning how to calibrate. It is as requested, having more access, and then being at peace with what is seen. And so yes, the idea of the blank page on which the drama of physical life is written can best be seen as the white page of dimensionality as expressed with and by agreement fields, divine will, an expression of, they are all expressions of Creator. Divine will is expressed as light, and everything that means joy, love, the rays, and its counterpart, it's what it rushes to and what it interacts with and what it needs is the null. Can you imagine having exuberance, divine will, divine love, and dancing with the null? Those who have spent time in the null know how beautiful it is. And it can express in so many ways and caress in so many ways. This is true union. This is lovely, beautiful, lovely. And how does it express? Well, it expresses through linear time, multidimensional time, stories, significance, expression. Call it dimensionality, call it many things you can call it. Agreement fields. It's a beautiful theory. We feel it has legs. We've been walking around with it. It seems to walk pretty good. It hangs pretty good. That's what she used to say. Oh, I think that essay hangs pretty good. Yes, we would always agree. Oh, yes, we agree. So that is what is going on. And the fourth video, well, if the Sam and Dave are busy, blah blah, then we don't like broadcasting from the bed. It's not comfortable experience, and we don't like to do that. We don't do that no more. In fact, we never have. We don't believe. It's not appropriate, and we don't want to. And so if this area of the house is not available, then we don't broadcast. So you probably won't see us again until the morning, and that is purposeful. What happened on the couch and what happened in the bed and what happened in the consciousness is this. The idea here, it seems to us there's light over there, but we know we turned off all the lights, but it's very bright. So she watched the video where there were sonic and visual anomalies, and the time she was certain they were emanating from her body. She reviewed the tape twice and saw that it seemed as if there was a huge searchlight, perhaps coming from her porch, but then it would wash over her, and this part of her face was shiny, and so what do you do with that? But there's somebody over there. And then the Moses thing, and then so she was thinking, well, I feel like crap, but I know I gotta stay here because they're gonna show up around my table, so I better lay on the recliner. So she did, and the kitty cat was there. What we told her was the prayer was an ending of an age, the respectful good night to archetypes which served so well in consciousness and who can now be put to rest ceremoniously and gently. And then we gave her thought, which was revolutionary, and of course it was something that was very personal, and this is what we would like to explain and caution to everyone. The reason she says, I want to own this, no one truly knows how much these truths are personal to her, how deeply they are felt, and how they expressed in her very relationships, in her understanding of her ex-husband, her son, her family. The ones who fought against her, who healed her, who held her, and who listened to her. The greatest of these is love. And for her, by the end of this log, the greatest act of love was accepting. It's having no resistance and being allowed to behave, say, do, feel anything she needed. Had this not been given by a great soul, it would never have been achieved. So, with a very, very large thank you, we say, with such a completion, and such a closure, with such a heart full of gratitude for every single person who gave and received difficulties, conflicts, arguments, love, sex, sensuality, romance, arguments, tears, laughter. Can you not see that all of these added up to something spectacular? And have you not seen the videograph proof? This is not done in a studio, dears. What you're hearing now is her son blowing his nose. She does not have a pause button. This is why she says, Sam, I'm recording. Just as before, but even more on the edge than essays, which ring, they ring, and they were not even edited for the most part. And these are not edited at all. They are spontaneous. Do you understand what you're watching? We're hoping you do. So, there's no script, and this is partly why the eyes become closed at times, simply for the ones who question. And we will suggest that the one sitting before you is done sometimes for her benefit, so that it becomes more and more visual evidence that it is coming from something that she doesn't understand, but it's completely coherent. And this was what was making her soul sing and her bones grow straight and true and strong finally, was seeing those essays from 12 and 13 and 14, and with such beauty, such consistency. And she's never really enjoyed the idea of paradox. This was a Bashar insertion. We'll use whoever. There was certainly a reason for using him. So, we thank you, Paul. So, we thank you, and bless you, and keep you. Amen. So this is the age of stopping. This Judas energy. It's the age of stopping. Physical, emotional, interpersonal, relational, familial paradox. If the current paradox resolves, what happens then? Wouldn't there be a higher resonance? You think people would just drop dead? No, not at all. They start behaving better. They start expecting more of themselves, and they start acting accordingly. I like that. Do you think there's a whole lot of bickering on the fifth dimension, guys? Anybody who looks at the blogosphere knows that once you go into the fifth dimension, what happens? Everything's golden. Well, do you think people snarl at each other? Well, we can tell you that on Earth you'd be snarling. And great acting out. Have you not seen it? Hop off the fence. Which side are you going to be on? You want to snarl and bicker? Well, then we would say that you are probably enjoying resistance and codes and karmic behavior, and that's good. Go for it. Work it out. Anybody says, hey, come on over here for $120 every week, I can solve all your problems. Well, we would suggest that that's someone who is working on his own koans, which is good. Sometimes they're a little bit farther along. How do you think she got so far? So is seeking out help bad? No. Understanding that you're doing it for a reason, that you're in distress, and you're going to have to change your behavior probably. Your life's going to probably change a little bit. And if you don't want that, then you don't go looking for the help. Simple as that. Then it's status quo. And that is the third. That is the containment field. That is the agreement field. That is slow, and it just has a lot of resistance, and there's a lot to fight against, and that's good. It's good. That is how you get strong. That is how you pop and pop and pop, higher and higher and higher. And so, as these things drop away, as agreement fields drop away, what do you think also drops away? Oh, I don't know. Could it be attachments? Oh. Now, we would suggest there are many people in her life that will always be there, regardless. And they may be on whatever path they are, and it is beautiful. And but they struggle, and she does not offer advice to anyone, ever. So all she offers is love. No advice to anyone, ever. that is an act of assault to give someone advice. And we do it to make sure that you understand that there are laws in this land, there are rules, and there are certain things that are done. And if you are in alignment, then you have more skilled behavior. The less aligned you are with your soul and your purpose and your worth and your truth, well, then the more misaligned your behavior. The less light can pop in, because there's so much what, gang? Well, we would suggest it might be magnetic reluctance or resistance that is expressed in the DNA as codons. We're just saying, expressed biologically as what? As codes. Expressed interpersonally, relationally, familially, as conflict. And this conflict is expressed in the psyche as misunderstandings. Somebody better be writing this down. And the author's name is Kathy space V as in Victor I-K. So let it be known, just as it was written in the Revelation, let it be known for all time. We have told her this at the very, 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 very beginning. We told her, fear not. Here's what's going to happen. You have an energetic signature. As such, it cannot be reproduced. It is like a thumbprint. However, there will be those who come along and want to mimic, and that is fine. That's not really mimicry. It is using someone's expression and finding a way to express themselves. And so it's good. This one was really awful at it. She would read Faulkner and then write like Faulkner for 9 months. She would read the Douglas Adams, and then it was Douglas Adams' jokey joke. And she finally said in the essay, "Oh, can you tell I'm reading the Douglas Adams?" So we say there's really no, that word is too strong, mimicry. It's more like influence. And we would say that every time that happened, she was adopting consciousnesses and awarenesses that the author had, so that she could understand them better and their words better. And her favorite book of all time, the only novel she ever reads anymore, is Ian McEwan's Atonement. Like a living, breathing poem, that book. Oh, like Buck. Stunning. Stunning. Stunning from beginning to end. Close second, J.K. Rowling. Thank you. Thank you. So, these are things which brought peace and comfort and a sense of belonging. And so this voice cannot be reproduced, and as such there's no fear. Also there will never ever 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 be such thing as writing block. There's just too much to do. Any genre that she wishes, she calls upon whoever is best at it, and they come through and help her. But she's kind of lazy and doesn't want to learn about the screenplay, and is relatively new, and no one has completely mastered it in this group yet that feels personal enough to receive lessons from. So that's one thing she's got to learn. She doesn't want to. But we must put food on table, blah blah. So as such, we can rest assured that this theory and the work it provides and the fun it provides, yes, of course she owns it. My God, why does do this document? Huh? Silly girl, stop being fearful. It's just simply, when you hear her please, well, that's a lonely girl who's had a lot of time to think all by herself, and she just wants to think with other brainiacs now. It's kind of cute. More of a hey over here. But we caution you, great scholar, when you hear such a thing, We caution you not to make fun of it, but to honor it and actually give it kind of a wide berth. Give it some deference. You want to know why? Because you will learn with sitting down next to her that she's deep. She is and knows everything all at once. Boop! It takes a while to unpack it. But combine the cautious. She doesn't know everything. She picks a lot of things up. Oh, as a synthesizer and as a communicator and a thinker. Can you imagine you get a whole bunch of them together? Holy God, holy God, holy God. Oh, an explosion of consciousness. Unbelievable. And so there's no fear. It's simply a long time being a fat girl with glasses, getting picked over and having boys say, "Hey, I dig your mind. Come on over here. Have a talk with me." Blah, 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 blah. Not usually getting a word in edgewise, never revealing her wisdom except as the living proof of attracting such minds. And then they go off and have fun sexually. And she gets to sit there. So these are all patterns that were broken in that little recliner, because we explained to her many things about how many things are done, not so that she can feel guilty about them, but they truly were on request. We had been using the word agreement, and it's actually upon request. And so that guilt just went away on so many levels, about so many things. It was very nice, but it goes far deeper than that, dear. So, we explained. Imagine the sadness of that event and the solemnity after having passed through an age where the woman, with mouth shut and eyes open, as best she could, but certainly heart open, she watched as knowledge was handed to men and misunderstood. And luckily, most had no pineal connection for most of the time. Some did, and then they had to become masters quickly. Because once aware of the game afoot, it is almost impossible to reconcile in the heart unless there is a great abundance of soul. And so this is the path of the shaman and the mystic and the women. A lot of women, a lot of witches just had to become bigger. And it really wasn't the heart. Sometimes they were discompassionate individuals, it appeared. However, they understood things you did not. So that's the idea behind all of it. And so that was an achievement on the recliner. And well, we would say that there has just been a stabilization of orientation, and that the two-sun concept is a very helpful one, not only for pelvis, but for small chakra systems, 12 chakra systems with two spinning bowls of energy, so to speak. Extracorporeal and corporeal. As well as, well, imagine that. She had a think on the pot today. Wait now. Hold on a minute. I keep saying it and they keep saying it. Holy crap, that's in my DNA. Ha! No wonder we are seen as creator gods when little alien ships show up and they get freaked out because the dimensional doodads get all messed up because we appear as a singularity. Why would we appear as a singularity? Well, we have to have the two suns, and now she knows what they are, and they spin in her, and that is why you saw the light, and you've been hearing people going shh with water, shh like that. It's just silliness. But it's fun, isn't it? So, la la la. We believe this is complete. We're going to go get jobs and have fun. The purpose behind all of this is now, for her, she has for her life 42 years at the bedside and 30 as an RN. She refused to be much in the company of the metaphysical, simply because she thought it cheating, although she barely remembered that, and she often forgot that. Well, we would suggest she forgot it completely for a long time. But she did say she didn't want to cheat. And the other is that she wanted to make sure she could get along with anyone and establish intimate, close, safe, and trusting contact instantly. And this is what nursing provided her, as well as many other things. So that was a good effort, and it's complete, and it's complete. It's not a bother anymore, and it's not anything to cry about or say, oh, where, I wish I had that life as a biologist, la. Who cares? Whatever. I'm so smart, blah, blah, blah. Well, that was all leading up, blah, blah. So, there's that. So, now it is time for her to have fun. She felt it was a way of cloistering and being a nun and cheating to be hanging out at metaphysical bookstores. So she very rarely allowed herself to be helped. She had the teachers and then she refused to have help. And so she has the Norma who saw her a couple of times, and she has the fellow with the cane. But there's precious few, except for the crayon, and that's a different kind of thing. That's a brother to a brother, a sister to a sister. That's spiritual survival for this one. As was James Tiberian for a while. But now it's different, so that's the idea. Now she gets to understand how to interact with people who have a vibration that she can manage. What has happened is there's been a shift in her physical vehicle, and she is vibrating faster and expressing differently. And it will become, it's perfectly fine. She can go anywhere now. However, there are certain agreement fields and certain realities which are not going to be quite as available, perhaps, not quite as and that's due to discomfort, simple discomfort. It used to be uncomfortable and now it's intolerable kind of thing. And that is just what we told her about the lying, and we told her this morning about the lying. The reason that we said, hey, girlie, get used to not lying. Everything's going to be exposed. Well, take a look around you. What we were asking was get rid of your shame. Start working on your resistance. Start working on your codes. Start looking at yourself and loving yourself. That's what it was, yes. But we would submit that when someone is lying, they are, well, neck deep in codes, neck deep in conflict, and neck deep in pain. And she was eyeball deep in all of that. So the admonition to not lie was one that if you understand that one day everyone's going to be talking to one another, well, you better get right with your behavior. And we would say getting right with behavior is getting right with God. First, you must uncouple it from judgment. Then examine it and ask yourself, what would someone have to think about themselves or believe or be going through? And tell yourself a compassionate story about that individual. The most compassionate, like the kind that you would tell about your son or your daughter. This is why this person did this and this and that. Make up benevolent stories. I would suggest you could start with those you don't like very much. Try that. You want to find peace in the valley? Try that one. But if you can't do that, and that's usually where people start, is with other, fine. But sooner or later, you gotta start doing it with yourself, because the shame has to get broken. Being unashamed of what you did in grave and deep misunderstanding, well then, guess what that does? Keeps you in misunderstanding. Just as alcohol keeps you in the agreement field, they are self-perpetuating. See how that works? Pretty clever, huh? So, we went very far, we exposed much, and we are happy to do it, because this is the beginning, and we told her this is what would happen. We would say that the explanation, and that is just the ground of the theory of validity, of personality integration, just the bare bones. But the idea here is that there's much more going on than simply figuring out a different way to talk to yourself. And that mental health and mental illness are simple traces of understanding something much deeper on a soul level, and coming to grips with one's identity, which is another way of saying attachment, we would say. So, put that in your pipe and smoke it. We will come back to you for the far, either tonight with the Dave and the Sam, or tomorrow. And perhaps she'll tell you if her little dreams came true. And perhaps she'll be disappointed because we let her down, because God doesn't love her, because she thought a thought that was naughty, and she's done naughty things with her yoni and stuff like that, right? That's why we're gonna say you can't have any money, and things are gonna be always so bad for you because you misbehave, right? Well, we would suggest there's no such thing as misbehavior. What's that about? No, there's behavior that is either in alignment or not in alignment. We would suggest if you're feeling guilty, well, that's maybe this. Hey, you think that was that had a lot of integrity? Was that a good alignment? Was that a skilled behavior or an unskilled behavior? And we ask you, where's the good and bad there? Where's it? Where's the, you are a piece of shit because you acted this way? Where's it? Well, it's not there, and do you know why? Because we're not in the third. We're not coming to you from the third with the resistances and the codes and the misunderstandings and the repugnance and the fear and the anger, which are all devices to make you stay in the field. Okay? See how it works? Self-perpetuating. Step out of it, go above 33, and what happens? Things that seemed perplexing are not. Paradox that was there and was punching you in the throat late at night, and you were trying to get to sleep, and going to your heart and making your insides burn. Oh wait, isn't that funny? What a funny thought. Wow. Where's the burning? Where's that pain? Huh? What happened? Oh, and then the burning and all that might return, you see. Self-perpetuating. You want to see this in action, in slow motion, and it goes very slow, and then quick. Is this one's work? With feeling very guilty and ashamed that she was exposing this crazy of, I found this peak in my experience, but people are going to say I'm crazy. This on and on and on and on it went. Well, do you think that might be maybe for your benefit too, Charlie? Well, we would suggest maybe it is, and maybe she did you a great service, and she was pretty conscious what she was doing too, and happily she did it. Happily she felt the feelings, and happily she did, as did Matt Conn, as did Nancy Orfield, as did thousands and thousands of first waves. they took in, feeling that you are not able to even imagine, some of you. Wear it cellularly, get it to the molecular level, touch the bottom of the pool, and then burst out, understanding when that is done, so is that agreement field done. This is what the Matt Kahn, the great Matt Kahn said. Are we going to forever be transmuting this nonsense, this pain, this agony? How long must we go on doing this, knowing we were clearing for the collective loves? It's all over the blogosphere. It's not just this one sitting and saying, oh, I got a big soul and I feel big and I gotta make it feel better. So I have these emotional things, but I tell myself it's for everybody. Well, no, it's not quite like that. Take a look around you. There are people saying the same thing. Big souls coming in, feeling, living, experiencing, knowing, writing, and then busting out. So, you are welcome. You are loved. You are honored this day by this one. Her work is for you. For you. Not for her. For you. Whoever's watching. Whoever cares to watch at this point. Sure, it's a ride, you bet. It's fun. It's been done many times before. However, this was a special one. This was done with great love and great planning and timing and devotion and pain, suffering, and depth. And now that's over. And a different agreement field is what she walks in today, supported for the first time in her life with a community who are going to be happy to see her and relieved to have the help. And she will learn how to behave with people of her kind, who she has allowed to be off limits, who she has been afraid of, cellularly afraid of. Not the ones who burn the witches, but the witches themselves. Mostly because when she's going to open her mouth, she's going to change the way they're thinking, and they don't like that either. But Kryan has already talked about that. But done with compassion and love and quietude and ease and all of the things that she's so good at. It'll be like dropping a question and then giving a kiss. No more pain. Nothing but gentleness, recognition, honor, dignity, deference, recognition, joy, will, freedom for all to express as they see fit, as does she, in profound happiness today. Looking forward to a McMuffin, egg muffin.